L'Afrique souffre, mesdames et messieurs.
Africa, ladies and gentlemen, is suffering from a governance model that has been imposed on it.
Un modèle certes bon
A model that
et
is
efficace pour l'Occident,
certainly
qui l'a conçu au
good and
fil de son
effective for the
histoire,
West, which developed it over the course of
mais
its
qui a du
history,
mal à passer
but which
et
is
à
difficult
s'adapter à
to
notre réalité.
incorporate and adapt to our reality.
Doumbouya is not wrong. This is a very hot topic right now because of the many military coups in West and Central Africa. But it's not the fault of democracy or the type of government alone. And he accepted that he works in Western countries. We'll come back to that in a moment. Let's hear what he has to say about military coups in Africa.
Les coups d'État, s'ils se sont multipliés ces dernières années en Afrique, c'est bien parce qu'il y a des raisons très profondes. Et pour traiter le mal, mesdames et messieurs, il faut s'intéresser aux causes racines. Le putschiste n'est pas seulement celui qui prend les armes, qui renverse un régime. Les vrais putschistes, les plus nombreux, qui ne font l'objet d'aucune condamnation, c'est aussi ceux qui manigancent, qui utilisent la fourberie, qui trichent pour manipuler les textes de la Constitution afin de se maintenir éternellement au pouvoir. C'est ceux en col blanc qui modifient les règles du jeu pendant la partie pour conserver les rênes du pouvoir. Voilà les putschistes les plus nombreux.
Doumbouya is not wrong again. Politicians commit crimes and all sorts of things that a military man in a military regime will shudder at. Because these politicians are not wearing khaki or military uniforms, because they operate in a democracy or civil rule, they were supposedly elected by the people. No Western country will sanction them, no matter what they do. This is the problem. In a democracy or civil rule, there are a set of rules that guide the whole process. Everything is written down in black and white so that everyone will know this is what I should not do, this is what I should do. The powers of all branches of government are also spelled out. Everyone will know his powers so that he will know when he is overstepping the bounds. If everyone, all the different branches of government, especially the executive, practice what is written in their laws, democracy will work the way it works in Western countries. But no, they rather behave like kings who are operating in a monarchy instead of a democracy. He talked about politicians who amend their laws in order to perpetuate themselves in power. This is one major problem in Africa. They think the power must revolve around them, that only them have something to offer to the country. There is a reason that most constitutions stipulate 2 terms for executive positions, because absolute power intoxicates. Even if a country decides to amend their constitution in order to accommodate more terms for political office holders, the current political office holders, including the governors and the president, should never benefit from the amended constitution because the law wasn't in place when they took power. Therefore, they should not benefit because obviously they will use that power to take advantage of the whole situation and continue staying in power. Power should not be about one person. The moment a politician starts making everything about himself, he's indirectly telling others that he's the only competent person that can run the country. It is very dangerous and divisive because no one is indispensable. This brings us to Paul Kagame, the president of Rwanda, who recently visited Doumbouya in Guinea. He has been in power since the year 2000, and he recently declared that he will run for a 4th term. This is the problem. No matter the reform and development he has brought to Rwanda, it doesn't qualify him to stay in office in perpetuity. It shouldn't be about one person. It should be about strong institutions that will outlast every one of us. Just like in Western countries, the reason their democracies have lasted hundreds of years is because they have strong institutions that help to maintain the democracy. People are born into it. They see that it works. They know that it pays to be law-abiding, that once you are innocent and you are accused of something, when you get to court, you will be freed. You don't need to bribe any judge. You don't need to do anything in order to be freed. You'll be freed based on merit. So they should concentrate on building stronger institutions that will maintain and support the democracies or civil rule, whatever type of government they run. African politicians make it very clear to the public they are going to office to steal. They make it very obvious that something else is attracting them to the office other than to go and serve the people. That's why they are very desperate. They are ready to do anything, especially during elections. Look at the presidential election that was held in Nigeria on February 25th, 2023. That election recorded more than 70 casualties. This huge number is more than the combined casualties recorded in 8 military coups that took place in Africa since year 2020. So you can understand how politicians operate. Their preoccupation is to get to power. What they would do with it is already predictable because anyone who comes to power through the back door or through the window will never serve the people. They will serve themselves and their cronies. That's why there is no progress in places these kind of things happen. In Western countries, there is always progress. People who respect the rules in a democracy, you see progress because it is not about themselves. It is about national interest. Coming back to why democracy doesn't work in Africa, with all the analysis, you can see it's not the fault of democracy or civil rule. Whatever type of government a country operates, if people don't obey the rules, it will still come crashing to the ground. It's as simple as that. The problem is the operators of democracy in Africa. They are very lawless. Despite swearing oath of allegiance to the constitution of their countries, they still end up breaking the laws, the same laws they are supposed to protect. So this is the problem. We have lawless people as leaders. If democracy can work in a place like India, India has a population of 1.4 billion people, more than the entire population of Africa. India is situated in a landmass that is 10% of the African landmass. Despite all this, they are still able to conduct free and fair elections. You don't hear military coup in India. They are making tremendous progress. Look at how they have grown their economy since the past few years. So the reason democracy is not working in Africa is simply because we have lawless people in charge. People who are selfish to the extent that they don't think about national interest. That is why we have military coups in Africa, because it's the only saving grace. Without military coup, there is no way you can remove these people from power because they've captured virtually everything about the country. This is why the military in countries where they successfully took power should consider banning politicians who've been in office the past 20 years from contesting in future elections. It should be a revolution on all fronts. Let them give way for the young people to lead their country. In Western countries where they go on holiday and purchase properties, they see young people leading these countries. Why is it only in Africa that we have 70-something-year-old men, 80-something-year-old men, and even 90-something-year-old men leading countries? Another thing they can do is to reduce their powers. Political office holders wield enormous powers. Once their powers are reduced, it will reduce the attraction to the office. Let only people who are accomplished in life and willing to serve the people be the people who are seeking power, not people who want to use their money to purchase that power, buy the electoral commission, buy everyone buyable, and get to that power and start using it against the people and enriching himself. Also, salaries of political office holders should be the minimum wage. These people enjoy too many perks of office. For a president to travel, he's always paid huge allowances and paid in foreign currency. So the more people he's able to put on that plane to travel with him, the more money he's going to fleece the country. All these monies, they end up in another country because he won't have the mind to invest it in his own country because he will be caught. People will say, oh, you are buying this, you're buying this property. At the end of the day, these monies are taken abroad. So the people are worse off.
Aujourd'hui, le peuple africain sont plus que jamais éveillés et décidés à prendre leur destin en main. La mauvaise répartition des richesses crée des inégalités sans fin.
Yes, Africans have accepted to take their destinies in their own hands, as can be seen by happenings in Francophone countries where they've all rejected France. In fact, France is viewed with resentment in these countries because of their influence over their economy, over everything, military. They want to control everything, including the CFA, the money that they use in Francophone countries. They are forced to make deposits in France. You can see more of this in this video that we made explaining how the CFA affects poor countries in Africa. In any country that there is massive corruption, there will be serious inequality. It will mean that the gulf between the poor and the rich will be very wide, which will lead to crime and unsafe society. You will see all sorts of things going on. You will see banditry, insurgency, all sorts of things. So definitely, any place you have massive corruption, you can't have progress, you can't have growth. So instead of African countries run around in circles, because at the rate we are going, we will still be doing the same thing in 500 years' time. Other countries have left us behind. It's better we work together, politicians to try and work for their people, not for themselves, so that to uplift their people and grow their countries. Thanks for watching.
Pourquoi?
That is why
Nous, Africains,
we,
nous trouvons
Africans, are insulted by the boxes, the categories, which sometimes place us under the influence of the Americans, sometimes under that of the British, sometimes the French, the Chinese, or the Russians, and even the Turks. We are neither pro nor anti-American. We are neither pro nor anti-Chinese, nor pro or anti-French, nor pro or anti-Russian, nor pro or anti-Turkish. We are simply pro-African. That is all.